just got to wait till somebody looks.
Everybody, welcome to the program. Thank you. In some ways, my special guest today, Howard Stern, is the worst nightmare on our pop cultural landscape. His humor can be sexist, it can be racist, foul-mouthed, homophobic, lesbian exploiting. This guy will do anything for a laugh. Just like you. I've called him a laugh whore to his face. He is, as you saw in that clip, as politically incorrect as any redneck ever born, but at least he laughs at himself. Maybe he laughs at himself most of all. For example, what possible additional scorn can be heaped on a guy who made fun of his own wife's miscarriage on the air? And yet he is America's #1 radio personality by a long shot. He's a best-selling author who is wildly irreverent, original, and even courageous in his own childish way. He is a very clever satirist who deflates our pretensions, blows away our conventions, and makes us laugh at ourselves. We've all just finished here in the studio watching his brand new movie, Private Parts. What did we think of it? Surprise of surprises. Howard Stern has made one hell of a film. It is shockingly sensitive. It is enormously entertaining. It is as exaggerated and as uniquely funny as the guy himself. We laughed out loud and then looked around guilty at having enjoyed the tasteless jokes, like that bit with the Frisbee. The self-anointed king of all media has just expanded his kingdom. Love him or hate him, Howard Stern has another winner. Ladies and gentlemen, Howard Stern. Look at this. TV Guide.
Cute, huh? And I didn't have to admit to sleeping with Bette Midler either.
Movie Line. You notice I won't.
Right.
Movie Line.
Movie Line.
Los Angeles.
LA Magazine, right.
Right. Oh, Penthouse. Do you...
Penthouse, that was a fun shoot. That I like. I know you would have liked to have been there.
How you doing?
Pretty good. First of all, it's good to. I'm glad everybody liked the film. That was great. Exciting. 4 years to make that.
Did you all like it, really? Nobody here hated the film? You in the suit. Didn't you hate this film? No.
No, we've gotten surprisingly. By the way, first of all, I want to compliment you on your attire. This is Geraldo's way of saying I'm rock and roll today. It's a rock and roll show. When he handles the John Bonet case, he puts on a nice suit. But for me, it's like I'm rock and roll. How's that going, by the way? Have you solved that case yet?
I'll get there.
Thank God for Geraldo solving the John Bonet case.
You know, the best thing about the movie is that you surrendered yourself to the professionals. It's not an ego trip. It's not you directing, producing, as so often happens.
It always disturbed me when I saw comedians who make movies. You start out with the credits, directed by, I think Eddie Murphy would admit that kind of did him in. He was directed by, written by. You know, there's something disturbing, and there is something that I've learned from collaborating. It was probably the most gratifying experience of my career. The first day I was on the set, I was really shaky because it was a collaboration. I was used to being spontaneous. I mean, you've been on my radio show many times, and you can sit there and click down that switch, and you are the producer, you are the director, you can do everything. It's spontaneous. But you get on a movie set, it's a whole different thing. Suddenly you have to answer to a director, you have to answer to a producer, and you've got 20,000 people around you. But it turned out to be, I think, the best thing I've ever done in my career.
Well, the acting wasn't bad. I'm
Thanks.
very surprised. I'm very surprised. I thought that you would really be larger than life, but you brought it down. And show another clip. It is funny, and most of America has not yet seen it. Private Parts is roughly based on his autobiography, the bestseller, 20 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. But it really is cleverly written and wonderfully acted. Here's another clip.
And the first thing you've got to...
You know, to me, that seemed like it really happened.
That is so real to me because it really did happen. And the guy, I don't know how this happens. The actor's name is Paul Giamatti, who I think is absolutely brilliant.
He's great in this
He's
movie.
really wonderful. He's Bart Giamatti's son. Remember the baseball commissioner?
Absolutely.
But I don't know how this happens in a movie, but this guy looks and sounds like the real Pig Vomit. I mean, he really does. He captures it. And there were times when I was doing scenes with him, I really wanted to slug him because I hated this guy so much. And he really just captured, and the nicest guy in the world, but he just came through on that part.
Did you really destroy the career of Pig Vomit, your programming director at WNBC?
Well, I know he really was that vicious that he wanted to destroy my career. His goal was to undermine me, get me to quit, and in some way either toe the line or quit. And it was going to either be me or him. And I think that when I finally became #1 at NBC, and I was able to succeed, and that's what the whole film's about, succeeding against all odds. I mean, that's why I think audiences are responding to the film, because we've all had pig vomits in our life. I know, listen, in your career...
This guy is now programming stations in Florida, rural stations in Florida.
Well, the point I'm making is that, you know, you ended up in show business, you ended up with a career in journalism, and there were probably a lot of people you knew in the beginning who really wanted to go on with a career, but somewhere along the line, a parent or a boss knocked them down, knocked them into the ground, told them they were horrible. I mean, did you have someone in your life who told you were horrible on the air?
No.
You are such an amazing talent. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
They wanted to destroy me for other reasons.
But for other reasons, whatever it is, I know that I had many people who told me I should not be on the radio. My voice was horrible, my delivery was horrible. But Pig Vomit was the true adversary of my life. I mean, this guy really, just on a daily basis, almost made me cry. And I really thought that this was going to be the end of my career. And if he won out, it would have been the end of my career. I firmly believe that.
What I had forgotten or never knew was how he had fired Robin as a way really of leveraging you into a position where you were more controllable. And Robin, for a time, felt that you had betrayed her.
Yes.
Robin is his on-air sidekick. You know, everybody in the world doesn't know he's only on in, what, 18, 20 markets?
Robin is terrific on the air with me, and anybody who understood the show knew that the chemistry of the show would be tremendously thrown off if Robin wasn't with me. So for them not to let Robin be with me was absurd. And they brought in another news guy, and they tried to team me up. But when you have chemistry, it's like 1 in a million. Robin is the anchor of the show. Robin is somebody who's, there are days I don't feel funny, who can bring up a fact. Like when you come in the studio sometimes, I'll be sitting there going, I don't know what I'm going to talk to Geraldo about. And all of a sudden, Robin will go, didn't you have sex with blah, 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 Geraldo? And then it'll be like...
It's funny how it always goes there.
Yeah, but we're off to the races. Well, you're a very sexual person.
Yes.
Did anybody in the audience have sex with Geraldo before they come? Just raise your hand.
Speaking of which, there's a fellow right back there.
Oh, there he is. Well, now you've gone and done it. You're ready for another book.
I've never had a star mention his penis more often than you did in this film. It was quite extraordinary, it seems.
Well, quite frankly, when I turned to my wife, I had sort of an epiphany in my life. I was in Detroit. My station had gone country. I thought my career was going to be from jumping to station to station to station. And I said, you know, if I'm truly going to be something on the radio, if I'm going to be something different, I've got to be totally honest on the air. And that means even admitting to the size of my own genitals, which I was not proud of. But the truth will set you free. And the first time I go on the air in Washington, what do I talk about? I admit openly that I am hung like a baby. And
the funniest thing is with those African-American athletes and you in the locker room.
Yes, well, that's true. I went to an all-black high school, which makes the film much more interesting. At the time, I didn't think it was so interesting, but now they have a film. Thank God I went to an all-black high school. And actually, the guys there, it was not a stereotype. A lot of the guys were very large. It appeared that way to me.
Much more with, probably along the same vein.
Yes. In fact, it'll deteriorate.
That's right. This is as good.
Yeah.
This is as good and as formal as it will get.
Right.
He is greater than the sum of his private parts. Howard Stern, our guest. We'll be right back.
Someone had sent me a tape of Robin. I had no idea. I knew she was a woman. I certainly didn't know she was black. And I needed a really good partner on the air. I couldn't care if she was green. I just wanted somebody who was great on the radio.
We listen.
You're disabled. You can't work. You need your Social Security disability benefits. And you paid into the system. But now when you need them to pay you back, they won't listen. Don't put up with that.
We listen to you.
We'll tell you if we can help, and we'll send you a free copy of our newsletter, plus our Social Security disability booklet. Call 1-800-66-BINDER. We're Binder and Binder, the only national Social Security disability advocates.
You know, we get 120,000 phone calls a month.
More and more, homeowners want one loan that does it all.
A lot of them are homeowners with less than perfect credit trying to refinance their homes.
They want to refinance their first mortgage and pay off their high-rate credit cards and auto loans. That's why the Money Store introduced the combo loan. With just one loan, you can refinance your mortgage, pay off your high-rate bills, and usually get some extra cash. The combo loan at the Money Store. Call 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Food stamps aren't a last resort. They're the first step to a better life. Call 1-800-342-3009 toll-free and get the facts on food stamps.
Rosie O'Donnell. She's the queen of happy talk television, but there wasn't always laughter in Rosie's life.
I don't have a mom. My mom died when I was a little girl.
Hard Copy takes an emotional look at Rosie's tough times. Plus, that smile, that hair, that body. See how America's favorite angel, Farrah Fawcett, is still a breathtaking beauty.
She was just born to be special.
It's Farrah's secrets to staying fabulous at 50 on Hard Copy.
Tonight at 7 on New York Channel 2.
You don't have to be Irish to love Fryrish. Everyone enjoys a touch of the Irish when they eat choice corned beef by Fryrish. Look for quality Fryrish products in your fresh meat section.
Now by everybody who ever fired you, ever said you couldn't make it.
That's what the whole movie's about, and tonight is the ultimate vindication. It took me 4 years to get this to the big screen, and now the critics have spoken and said they love the film. They're heaping praise on me, which really feels like I was smart to wait 4 years, hold out for a good script, make a good movie, and something that I can be proud of. The idea of getting an Oscar would be truly remarkable, because to stand up there and thank no one but myself would be really great.
Kevin, you're a fan of Howard Stern together. What is it about Howard that just attracts everyone?
He's actually a real sweetheart. He wouldn't like me saying that, but he is.
I hear that for the advanced screenings, a lot of women in particular have come away from this film really, women maybe who weren't disposed to loving Howard to begin with, really have a great image of him after this.
Well, I've always liked Howard. I've always told him he's awfully cute, but he didn't believe me. Maybe now he will.
It's tremendous. You know, I'll tell you, it's very funny. I was the first one to give the Beatles and the Rolling Stones their awards when they first started at Wembley Stadium. This is such a phenomenon. In all the years I've been in the entertainment world, I've never seen anything like this.
This is the most amazing thing in the history of show business.
That was the premiere night. And we had the premiere at Madison Square Garden, and that truly was a remarkable evening to me. My theory was, although there were a lot of celebrities there, we invited 6,000 fans, because I felt the fans really helped me get this movie made. I could never have had the clout that I had in Hollywood to get a script developed and also have script approval if I didn't have thousands of fans who would...
You made it a benefit that's so unlike you, so uncharacteristic.
Well,
you mock people who are publicly, beneficent.
No, that's not true. I mean, I just think sometimes celebrities do it in a self-serving way, that you almost get the feeling that they hook up with a charity because their publicist told them to. I've always sort of had a funny feeling about that sort of hypocrisy. I mean, so many celebrities in Hollywood come out about child abuse, and then you see them flock to do a Woody Allen movie. That kind of hypocrisy always disturbed me. You know, after Woody runs off with Mia's daughter. So you can certainly understand that I would be a little wary. Oh, that one. Yeah, we're supposed to ignore that.
Get a shot of his shoes. These. Well,
what do you think? And look at those shoes.
Aside from being huge, they're quite stylish.
Yeah, so it's a size 13s.
Bruno Molly's.
Bruno Molly's. Wouldn't. God, you're waiting for OJ to come on this show, aren't you? What would you do to him?
Furman, I was warming up.
Would you pick up a chair and throw it at him?
I don't know
what you would do.
Debbie, you have a ton of questions? Yes, go ahead. Get right to it.
How you doing, Howard?
Hi.
In the movie, so many people had opportunities to play their own part. How did your wife feel having someone play her part?
Why didn't you have Allison in the movie?
Well, actually, I mean, my wife isn't a performer. I mean, thank God. That's why I married her. I'm so happy that my wife isn't in show business. And the fact is that it was a demanding part. I mean, you had a part where someone had to stretch 20 years, where we meet at 20, and then we go all the way up through 40. So we had to find a really good actress. And it was very difficult to find someone to play Allison, because Allison is the heart and soul of this film. And the film does take people by surprise because it is about my relationship with her. And as you mentioned in the beginning of the show, I don't sugarcoat the relationship in the film.
You really don't.
There is betrayal. Here is a woman who traveled the country with me, and she was wonderful. I was the Uber geek. I mean, I couldn't get women, and I find this wonderful, beautiful woman who's willing to be with me. And as we travel the country, and I become I start to realize that I want to go on the radio and tell everything, including our sex life. She has no idea what that means, and she does feel betrayed when I talk about her miscarriage. And yet I felt, thanks to Mary's performance, that it was touching and heartwarming, and I thought that
You're giving yourself another review here.
Well, I just think that the idea was that people should be able to leave the theater and understand why we're still married, that there is a relationship where we can make each other laugh, and we have something between us that's, that's unexplainable.
I think one of the reasons that I went off the deep end in terms of women early in my life was that I grew up with asthma, skinny, and pimples. You grew up, and then I overreacted when finally those conditions disappeared.
Right.
You grew up all geeky, and yet you have managed miraculously, in my view, because I know how show business is, to really be faithful to your wife.
Yeah, and it is difficult. I don't say it's not, and I try to show that in the movie. I mean, there are times that I'm rolling around on the floor with, with lesbians, as you say, and, I've convinced myself on some level that that's because I have to do it for the good of the show.
Oh, is that
and,
it?
Yeah, and, you sit there and you do that, and there are many, as in the movie, my wife has to turn the radio off a lot of times in front of friends and doesn't really want to hear about it. So there is this strange life that I have, that I've created, and I am doing these weird ththings, but yet I do love my wife, and it has been difficult not to hop into the sack with beautiful penthouse pets and things like that. But to give up the love of my wife and this person who's been my best friend, to give that up would be very, very difficult. So that's a pretty heavy price to pay.
You realize how conventional that sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually some people will be surprised. People have said to me for years, when I've been interviewed, they said, what kind of woman would be crazy enough to marry Howard Stern and stay with him for 20 years? And the fact is that people have also been amazed that off the air I seem to be this nice guy. And I wanted to show that in the film because that's probably the most interesting thing that I've never been able to show the audience before. I have these two completely different lives. And people have said to me, who's the real guy? Is it the guy on the radio or is it the guy who walks around all day and acts civil? I said, well, I believe it's the guy on the radio. I know those are all my inner thoughts exposed. That I sit down, we all have inner dialogues going on. Right now, you're sitting there going, God, look at Stern's hair. Look at him. What the hell? He's like Louis XIV sitting there. I mean, you have some inner dialogue going on. You're saying, gee, I could kick his butt in a fight. I know it. Just like I kicked that Ku Klux Klan guy. You know what I mean? I know I can do it.
Well, that's closer than hair.
You're so macho with that fighting every minute. But the point is, when you think about it, we all have this inner dialogue. And since I allow that to go out over the air, I know that's really me. And I find that in real life, I'm this phony that walks around and masks all my emotions. And I always hated real life because of that.
You told me that the real person is the person on the radio.
And I firmly believe that. My wife doesn't, but I believe it.
But doesn't that risk having people not like you? I mean, they laugh at you and with you. But, on the radio, your personality is not particularly endearing.
Well, I don't know about that. There seems to be a lot of people who love that guy on the radio. And I'll tell you something.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Thank you. And I'll tell you why.
Wait, before you do, in the movie, you suggest that the research, at least when you were on that Washington station, indicated that the people who hate you listen twice as long to the show on a given day as the people who love you.
That's true. Because, quite frankly, I'm catching people at the worst time of day. What is the worst time of day? 6 to 10 in the morning when you're driving to work and you're trapped in your car. Of course, you fly by helicopter. You can't even relate anymore. This guy's in a helicopter back and forth to Jersey, but don't ask. Very wealthy man. So the point is that most people, Geraldo, unlike you.
I could cash in those shoes, get a new one.
There you go. Most people, though, drive to work and they're trapped in these cars. And they're sitting there going, oh, my God, this is horrible. I just want to get to work. And they're literally on their commute for an hour and a half. And people have said to me, they get to work, they pull into a parking garage, and then for 10 minutes they sit there and listen to the show.
Or wreck their cars on the Taconic
Right,
Parkway.
because something fun is going on. So I think people genuinely appreciate it. This idea or this notion that people hate me this much, I think is created by guys in the media who want to think that there are people who hate me. And many years ago, like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I don't know what it was, I was interviewed by John Stossel for 2020, and he said to me, oh, you're so hated, I bet you can't even walk out on the street. I said, take your camera, let's walk out on the street, and we'll see what happens. And sure enough, we walked out on the street, and everybody, I mean, all women, men, all age groups, ethnic groups came up and said, hey, we love the show. So this perception that I'm so hated is probably one created by the media.
Do you think that your success can sustain, or better question, can your success survive success?
Well, I think so. If you're asking me, will I ever be a Hollywood insider? because of the success of the movie, if the movie is successful. By the time this show airs, we'll know or not. But whether the movie is successful or not, at least the critical praise is there, and people have said they really love the film. I don't feel like I'll ever be a Hollywood insider, because I can't imagine what Hollywood insider means. Does it mean that I get to go to Sylvester Stallone's home for dinner? I'm not interested in that. Does it mean that I get a phone call from the head of a studio? I don't care about that. The only thing I would actually care about is if the film was successful, that I get to make a second film and put the same kind of care into it and have the power to reject scripts and that kind of thing. Yeah. So, you know.
I was wondering, what was the scene that you were talking about that you thought maybe you should cut out of the movie? At the end of the movie that was disturbing?
No, that was Katie Couric had a problem with. I don't really have a problem with it. That's when Pig Vomit does his little spiel at the end. I always thought it was interesting to find out where Pig Vomit was and what happened, but she seemed to be disturbed by it, and you know what? Who knows what she was talking about? I've yet to, but Katie actually liked the film. She really enjoyed it. That was the point.
She's great. We'll be right back. Howard Stern, starring in a new film.
For free tickets to the Geraldo Rivera show, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Geraldo Rivera Tickets, 524 West 57th Street, New York, New York, 10019, or call 212-265-1283.
Phew, that smells worse than I do. It's my sweaty, smelly feet.
You need Odor Eater's Foot Powder. Now it has powerful Arm & Hammer baking soda. Look, foot odor is caused by sweaty acid, and now Odor Eater's powder actually neutralizes odor-causing acid. These Dr. Scholl's can't. Plus, Odor Eater's powder can dry up 25 times more wetness than talc.
No more wet, smelly feet.
Wow! Stop foot odor and wetness with Odor Eater's Foot Powder. Now with Arm & Hammer baking soda.
If you've been seriously injured in any kind of accident, the law limits the time you have to file your claim. Time may be running out. You need a lawyer who will work quickly to get you money for your injuries. Call the Injury Helpline now and speak to a lawyer near you for free. One who works hard to get what you deserve and who gets paid only when you collect money. The insurance companies have lawyers working hard on their side, and so should you. Call 1-800-688-8833.
He's sensitive, strong, and sexy. He's perfect. So, will you ever actually meet him?
Learn how to date, rate, and mate Mr. Right. And best-selling author Barbara DeAngelis joins us to dispel the myths on how to go looking for love. We've got the real rules on romance and relationships.
If you use your intelligence, you use the real rules, you will find not just a man, but the right man for the real you.
On the next Geraldo Rivera show.
Today on Channel 2 News at 5, a deadly link to breast cancer? Find out if this nuclear plant could be putting you at risk. And a bloody shootout in a Detroit bank leaves customers running for cover. Plus, what brought Flight 800 down? Watch experts put the clues together piece by piece. Then, Marsha Kramer goes undercover and shows you how easy it is for some to get money out of a Swiss bank. So why can't Holocaust survivors get back their frozen fortunes? Plus, Ira Joe's cloudy Earthwatch forecast. Today on Channel 2 News at 5.
With my itchy, flaky scalp, I need 2 hands for itching and 2 more for flaking.
Now all you need is Double Action Scalpicin Foam. It helps stop deep scalp itch and dandruff too. Not a shampoo you wash away, Scalpicin Foam gives pinpoint relief that won't disturb your hairstyle. Starts working instantly with the medically proven medicine these dandruff shampoos don't have.
No more flaking, no more itch.
Scalpicin Foam or Scalpicin Liquid helps stop deep scalp itch and dandruff.
Listen to me. You give me a couple of days. I know I can get you back on the air. I know it.
Forget it.
They're trying to break us apart. They're trying to beat us.
That's the whole point. You and Fred should quit and we should go somewhere else.
Quit? If I quit, they win. Don't you see? I don't want them to win. I can't quit.
You're not going to quit?
No.
You're going to let them throw me out like garbage?
No, I want to beat these guys. I want to stomp them into the ground. The only way to do that is to stay on the air. I've got to stay on the air, Robin.
You're pathetic.
I'm not pathetic. Just give me a couple of days to make them understand. I can convince these guys to bring you back. I know I can do that.
Was it a mistake not to quit?
Oh, no. I think Robin would be the first one to admit that even though she was gone from NBC, that if I had left, that would have been the end of me. If I had been fired from NBC before I got ratings, I believe my career would have been over. I would have been destined to go to some small market in Florida and start all over again.
With pig vomit.
Yeah, and I knew deep down in my heart that I could make those guys at NBC so nuts that they would have to hire Robin. And I knew it deep down in my heart. So even though I knew Robin would be temporarily mad at me for not leaving right then and there, I knew that I would get her job back.
How do you respond to critics who say you have Robin on the show so you can do race and sex jokes?
That's absolutely absurd. In fact, when Robin and I first met, I was in Detroit, and we met over the phone. And someone had sent me a tape of Robin. I had no idea. I knew she was a woman. I certainly didn't know she was black. And I needed a really good partner on the air. I couldn't care if she was green. I just wanted somebody who was great on the radio. And I heard a tape of her, and I thought her voice was beautiful, and there was an intelligence there. And when we met, actually, we were already brought together. We talked on the phone, and we had instant, it was like, you know why I liked Robin? When we were talking on the phone for the first time, she took over the conversation. And in my life, I'm always the guy who has to take over the conversation and take charge. And she made me feel so comfortable, and she was so engaging that I knew over the phone that we'd be right for each other. Had no idea she was black. And that would never enter into my consciousness whether or not I should have I would never be that calculated to say, oh, if I have a black person on the air with me, I can talk about black issues. That's just not the way my mind works.
You know, some of your humor, though, can tend to be kind of Amos and Andy-ish. Or I said politically incorrect when you were talking about the developmentally disabled guy and he's throwing the Frisbee and you're bocking him in the forehead. Do you think that, see, we laugh, but we're guilty about laughing because you're not supposed to laugh at a person who may be retarded.
The people who are truly racist in our society, the people precisely who go, you know what, I better not make fun of Jesse Jackson because if I do, people will think I'm a racist. I grew up in Roosevelt. It's an all-black neighborhood. We talked about race constantly. White people talked about black people talked to white people. We all talked together. That's the way it worked. It's the racists who are uptight about talking about race. They're the ones who sit there and go, I better not talk about black issues because everyone will think I'm a racist. That's absurd. That's completely insane. And I mean, you know, I don't ever feel that anything we do on the show is racist. I just don't get it. Do we make fun of our racial problems in this country? Yeah, absolutely. We lampoon everything. Our racial problems are ridiculous. And quite frankly, I don't think there's a racial problem in this country. I think there's a class problem. I think there are the haves and the have-nots. There's lots of white poor people, too, who just get, you know, pissed on.
I just wanted to ask you, how do you prepare for 4 hours every day on the radio? Is it stream of consciousness, or do you actually sit and write it?
That is a good question, because there are times that I hate the radio show. I must admit that...
well, sometimes you come in a bad mood, it's obvious.
Well, yeah, most days. I do a lot of preparation for the show. I never watch television. For example, if I'm watching your show in the afternoon,
right.
I sit there and I go, okay, what can I goof on here? What kind of material is there here? Because I watch a lot of television. And it's not like watching television to relax. You're constantly looking for material, and I always feel like it's Sunday night, right before you have to go to school the next day. Constant preparation.
I know that feeling.
And even to this day, when I go on the air, right before I go on the air, I'm like nauseous. I go, am I really prepared? Do I really have something to say here? Is it really going to be funny today? And there are times I really hate it, but yet to give up that sort of spontaneous forum. I always thought radio could be great. 5 years old, I thought radio could be great. So to give up that forum, especially now that we're on in 35 markets and we keep adding cities to this network, I can't see walking away from it, you know, and I signed for another 4 years.
Great. I think this lady was on your show. Was she in the film? Yeah, hi.
Hi. With all your success, does your father still call you a moron?
Well, about the time I wrote the book, my father finally stopped calling me a moron. You know, it's really funny.
That is pretty funny, though.
When I got on the radio, it's funny to you, it was a nightmare to me, Geraldo. I didn't know you'd be laughing at child abuse. But he's worried about John Bonet. Look at me, I was called an idiot. Did you solve that case yet?
Give me one more week.
You know the world is relying on you to solve that case.
One more week.
He'll have it solved very soon. Don't get nervous. While Geraldo's here, he's got investigators down there working on it. But my point is that my father did call me a moron and an idiot. I tried to show in the film that even though he was calling me that, I really felt he loved me. It was his insecurity. He was afraid that this little idiot was never going to be able to make a living. So, you know, he saw me with puppets. He saw me with, you know, with everything I did was dumb.
Look at this, so sweet. I love this.
Yeah, well, yeah. So imagine calling that kid a moron.
Oh, really? Which was you?
I'll tell you, even with my radio success, and I said I'm going, thank you, Geraldo, I caught that. Just trying to ignore your comments.
Howard on Imus as soon as we come back. Stay tuned.
I've always made it a personal vendetta to strip him of his audience, which I did. And whenever he walks down the street now, he gets to hear my name as they scream out Howard.
2 years ago, I won a big accident settlement. Even though it paid me $20,000 a year, I couldn't afford to give up my machine shop job. Then a friend told me that Singer Asset Finance Company could convert all the money I had coming into a big lump sum. How's that changed my life? Well, now, instead of working for the machine shop works for me.
Call Singer Asset Finance Company and learn how you can convert your small lawsuit settlement, annuity, or lottery payments for a big lump sum.
If you've been hurt by anything, a car accident, a fall, a doctor, a hospital, you may be entitled to a large cash award. To find out, call 1-800-LAWYERS right now. The call is free, the advice is free, and we stay open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We're open New Year's Eve at midnight. So call 1-800-LAWYERS. We're there right now to answer all your questions absolutely free.
For ordinary pain, I take an ordinary pain reliever. But for all the pain of my period, I take Maximum Pain Relief Pamprin. I'll start with one medicine for pain, but Pamprin adds a second, plus a medicine for bloating. Pamprin is period relief that's more complete.
Announcing a breakthrough in pain relief, new Flexall Ultra Plus. For pains that keep coming back again and again, new Flexall Ultra Plus has 3 pain relievers for ultra fast, ultra strong, ultra long relief. Flexall Ultra Plus, relief times 3.
A splash of color. An air of style. It's so hot, it's impossible to hold back. So new, it's still under wraps. It's the last 2 days to get a glimpse of Siemens' hottest new furniture designs. Available with immediate savings, but no payments until July. There's only 2 days left to see the unveiling at Siemens Furniture.
Here they are.
She's slipping.
I'm a big movie singer.
Frostbite. I drove from Colorado to get here. My car's being towed down on 35th Street.
I worked a 12-hour shift last night. I left a half an hour early, got docked. I'm still here 5 hours. Woo! I love Howard! I've been here since 7 o'clock, and I'm freezing.
Go me, Howard!
My toes are numb.
Howard for president!
You would never freeze for anyone else.
Oldest motherfucker.
We
go to Catholic high school, and we cut. We're out of there. You can't be telling our principal, though. Yeah, keep it low.
I've been out here since 4:30 this morning. I came from East Windsor, Connecticut. We love you, Howard.
Look at that.
How long did you wait for those?
About 6 hours. Yo, we're not getting tickets now because they cut the line off after waiting here 5.5 hours. Stone, if you're out there, please get us tickets. Make it a Friday night show. Hold it wherever you have to at the Meadowlands if you have to. Just get us tickets. We're down here. We love you. We want to see you again. You're great.
I tell you, there was a riot here today. Just pan around, Donnie, pan around. Show how packed. People sitting on the front steps. Do we have a camera in the remote studio right now? Not yet? Okay, get one. We had to set up a remote studio.
That was actually our premiere. We were giving away tickets to the premiere, and as I said, I wanted to have fans there because I truly am indebted to them for helping me get this film made. But it was wild. We had some premiere night there. It was at the Garden, and I actually got to perform live on MTV with Rob Zombie for the soundtrack album, and you would have liked it, Geraldo.
Where and how did you discover the ratings attraction of lesbianism?
Well, as you saw in the movie, it's very true. In Washington, I come to this conclusion, and it's an exciting point in the movie.
Was it like a eureka moment?
It was a eureka moment, and it was actually very difficult. You know, you look at it now, and you look at it on film, and you go, okay, you had lesbian dial-a-date. But when I did that, there were such consequences. That's what I wanted to show in the film. When you go on the air for the first time, Washington, D.C., very conservative town, and you say, today we're playing the lesbian dating game, I mean, all hell breaks loose off the air. You think you've done this wonderful show, it's groundbreaking, you get off the air, and you get pulled into a meeting, and 5 guys line you up and say, you just lost us 50% of our advertising dollars, you idiot, and we are going to go down, and you're going to be fired. And it's sort of a diplomacy, how to succeed in business, by sitting there and saying, guys, I'm really not a bad guy. I might have made a mistake. I'm so sorry. I think the show's getting a buzz. I think we're starting to take off. And if you look rational, they start to believe you. And then they let you on the air another day, and you screw them again.
But it's amazing you haven't had even more severe backlash from the lesbian community.
As a matter of fact, in Washington, D.C., when you see that lesbian dating game, it was the gay press, the only press that supported me. They came out in favor of it. It was the Washington Gay Blade. You can check it. They went and I got the article. I put it in my book. I said, my God, what they said was, it's about time somebody treated gay people like they treat heterosexuals. Why can't we have a dating game? Why can't we have fun with this? So it was actually the only positive press I got was the Washington Gay Press. And yet,
well, at least your father's not calling you a moron anymore. You got
no, I got rid of that thing. You know, he calls me a couple of things now, but not a moron. No, my father's been humbled a little bit.
How does your father like his portrayal?
He loved the film. My parents went to see the film premiere night, and they really came away. My mother said, you know, when you wrote your books, I thought they were a little too raunchy for me, so I never told people to buy them. She said, but I saw the film, and I got to say, it touched me so much that I'm now recommending to everyone that they go see the film.
It is charming. You make him look like American Gothic, you know, on acid.
Yeah. As long as it's funny. You know, my whole goal in this...
It is funny.
My goal was to make a funny film.
I go to those movies, and I hate reviewing movies because I just sit there and, okay, make me laugh. But really, I was rolling. I saw it in the control room just an hour ago.
Yeah, people have said it's outrageously funny, and that's what I was after. The fact
there you go again.
No, come on, I'm here to
you're
sell.
Your own
what do you think,
number
I'm
one
here
fan.
to talk to you? I'm trying
We'll
to
be
sell
right
a
back.
movie.
Greater than the sum of his private parts, Howard Stern.
What's in your ice cream? Now check out Breyers in the black pack.
There's milk, strawberry, sugar, and cream.
Breyers All Natural. Taste, not technology.
Breyers presents Viennetta, a delicious ice cream dessert. But there could be one small problem. One slice is never enough. Viennetta from Breyers.
Colorful taste, pure fat-free, wishbone's done it beautifully. Take a peek, take a pour, you're looking at what you're looking for. Taste the colors, Wishbone, world's most colorful taste. Sunflower's fragrance from Elizabeth Arden. A celebration of life. A great gift with any $28 Sunflowers purchase at the Elizabeth Arden counter.
He's sensitive, strong, and sexy. He's perfect. So will you ever actually meet him?
Learn how to date, rate, and mate Mr. Right. We've got the real rules on romance and relationships on the next Geraldo Rivera Show.
Have you or someone you know been injured in an accident? Who pays for the hospital and medical bills? Are you entitled to money for lost earnings, pain, and suffering? To find out, call 1-800-X-JUDGE. Former New York State Supreme Court Judge Erwin Silbowitz, with over 30 years legal experience, is now in private practice. He and his partners will review your case for free. There's no fee unless you collect money. So call 1-800-X-JUDGE now. This call could affect the rest of your life. Remember, we protect your rights.
It's the smart way to lose weight. Permathene with calcium. In one little caplet, maximum appetite control plus the calcium your bones need. I lost weight the smart way, the Permathene way.
I love coffee, don't you? But look how it stains your teeth.
Get Plus White toothpaste with dual-action anti-stain polishers.
Plus White removes coffee stains fast.
Guaranteed.
If you have wrinkles and puffiness under your eyes, I recommend Sudden Change Under Eye. Look, before sudden change and after. Sudden Change Under Eye.
Hi, I'm Neil Padgett, President, with a great offer from Wardley.
Discover the fun of owning an aquarium in Wardley's FinFacts Aquarium Handbook, yours free at Petland discounts, featuring the most popular tropical marine pond and goldfish, plus recommended feeding programs.
Join the fun. Get Wardley's Aquarium Handbook free at Petland discounts.
Discounts for the best care a pet can get.
Both of these beepers can tell you the same thing. They can both tell you when someone's calling, tell you their number, what time they called. Heck, they can even tell you what time it is now. But the beeper on the bottom will cost you around $10 for monthly service. The one at the top from Smart Beep, a measly $1.99. So actually, there is one thing that the Smart Beep beeper will tell you that the other one can't. Sure, we could tell you how we do it, but for $1.99, do you really care? Call 1-800-BEEP-199, and don't ask how. Ask how much.
with a metal detector. Yeah, Studio 45. There's your dad in the front row with that long hair.
They saw the movie too?
They saw the movie too. Okay, Imus, you were on WNBC with him.
Well, I had
Don
a personal...
Imus in the morning.
Yeah.
Now born again, now more political than
Well,
just
I had a
raw
personal
humor.
hatred for Imus. When I got there, he was not particularly friendly toward me.
Was that an accurate characterization?
Yes, it was
well, he
very
admits
accurate.
he was on booze and drugs at the time.
I don't care what he was on. If he was on acid, you still don't walk through the halls insulting secretaries. I've always made it a personal vendetta to strip him of his audience, which I did. And whenever he walks down the street now, he gets to hear my name as they scream out Howard, which is really good because the guy was abusive.
This is what I was talking about.
No, the guy was truly abusive.
This seems unnecessarily, gratuitously, ungracefully mean-spirited.
I took a dislike to him. I thought he was the kind of guy who was a bore. And I just wanted to teach him a lesson. So I mean, maybe my career is like that. Maybe sometimes I kind of feel like I need to get revved up and go after somebody like that.
You need an enemy of the week.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Hi, Howard. I want to thank you for your honesty on the radio. Like, for instance, during the O.J. trial, just hearing some sanity, I felt safe in this world.
Yeah, you know, I had a weird thing with the O.J. trial. It was like the day that the O.J.
So
thing.
did I.
Yeah, we know about that. You ever see a guy hop on something?
Oh, go on.
All right, go ahead. Thank God you got him the second conviction, Thank you. Geraldo. You were brilliant on that.
Thank you.
Geraldo masterminded the whole case. But actually, Geraldo, the thing with O.J. was that the first day it happened, it was obvious that O.J. had committed the murders. There's never been more evidence against a human being, short of a videotape, a guy killing somebody.
That wouldn't have mattered either.
It wouldn't have mattered either if they had that. But I really felt that making fun of O.J. right from the beginning was the right thing to do, and to go on there and really pound away at him, because I think he should be ridiculed. He should be ostracized.
He is being.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Howard Stern. Greater than the sum of his private parts.
Good afternoon, I'm Lou Young.
And I'm Dana Tyler. Coming up today at 5, FBI agents seize a videotape that may reveal the cause of the crash of TWA Flight 800.
And it's terror at a bank as a man walks in, recites a prayer, and starts shooting.
Plus, homeowners near the Brookhaven Laboratory find out the worst may be yet to come.
And we continue our explosive report undercover at a Swiss bank to find out what's happening to frozen fortunes. Those stories more on Channel 2 News at 5.
The tragedy started with just one phone call.
How seriously has my husband been injured?
The tragedy can last a lifetime, and so can your expenses. That's why we're here. We help the victims of accidents recover money damages.
To be connected with a participating lawyer near you for a 911 emergency, an accident, an injury, an active malpractice, dial 1-800-LAWYER-911. Not a law firm or lawyer referral service. Lawyer advertisement.
General Nutrition Centers. GNC. Live well.
Take the automotive credit test. Just answer these 3 questions. Got a job? Steady income? Stable residence? If you answered yes, you're approved with just a quick phone call. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, and it's automated. Call the Autoland Credit Connection right now. 1-888-857-LOAN. Even with derogatory credit, you can still drive a new car. Call 1-888-857-LOAN. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, free. You determine your monthly payment. You determine your down payment from the convenience and privacy of your phone. Call now, free. If you've got a job, steady income, and a stable residence, you've already passed the credit test. Call 1-888-857-LOAN for instant pre-approval. Call the greatest automotive showcase on earth, Autoland, today. 1-888-857-LOAN.
Howard is signing some autographs. You never got a chance to ask your question. Ask away.
So, Howard, my question is, do you ever get real threats, or are you ever afraid for your honesty?
What about your kids? That's a better question.
Well, you know, I have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
All girls?
All girls. And we keep a pretty private life. You know, we're pretty sedate. I don't leave the house. I don't go anywhere, and I just kind of stay there. And as far as threats go, once in a while you get like somebody's kind of kooky gets carried away. But actually, I've not had a lot of that. No.
Actually, I was on the show with a guy with a gun outside. Some crazy thing. I don't remember.
Were you there
what
that
the
day?
facts
Yeah,
was.
there
I
was some guy was running around, and but it turned out, you know.
But you don't go to like Aspen, you don't go to St. Bart's, you don't go to Europe with your family. You are really kind of you play poker with the guys on the weekends. I mean, it's
yeah, once in a while. I basically am just staying in my house. You know, people say to me, gee, I've heard celebrities on shows say, well, gee, isn't fame a horrible thing? You can't go to the supermarket. I never liked going to the supermarket.
Me either.
I hated it. So the idea that I have an excuse now, if my wife says, gee, don't you want to get together with some friends? I go, no, I can't. You know, it's just impossible. I can't leave this house. I never liked leaving the house. I swear to you, I could be happy just sitting in a room with blank, you know, just blank walls staring at the wall. I don't want to go anywhere.
What does the 13-year-old say about what her friends say about her dad?
They've had no problem with other kids. Sometimes adults have an agenda with them, but it's been pretty mellow. I'm surprised. You know, we take each day as it comes. I mean, it's a wacky career Dad has. My kids, actually, I tell them I'm a Harvard law professor, so they don't know the difference anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
As a senior in high school, I see how the media affects us, and I wanted to know how you being in the media, how you feel.
Now, what do you mean? What are you really saying? Are you saying that he has a negative effect on?
No, I'm saying that we listen to the media a lot, especially on our views of sex, and I wanted to know how you
Well, I think the show has changed the way media is. I think that there is a freer sexuality on the air. We're a very uptight country, you know. I think sexuality is a looser. We see on radio now, governors, ex-mayors want radio shows. It's become something a little bit elevated radio. You know, people want to have radio shows. I even see television being affected, you know, and for whatever it's worth, I think it's a lot looser, and we see a lot more issues being discussed.
And yet you really were the whipping boy for the FCC. I don't think there's ever been anything like the fines levied against you for obscenity. I remember I was even involved in one of the programs.
Right.
I saw the transcript.
Well, you were the reason I got in trouble with the
Sure.
FCC.
That
Weren't
too.
you talking about something disgusting? Something about
I may
women
have been asked about something.
Yeah,
disgusting.
right. It's possible.
But do you feel that you were unfairly scapegoated?
Yeah, I do. I think it was absurd. I think that the United States government took me and said, okay, let's show this guy to be the example. There's lots of guys doing different things on the radio that would probably warrant some sort of fine if you were going to be held up to those standards. But they said, as long as we fine him, everyone else in the industry will shake in their boots. And I never got my day in court, as you know. I think if
Why
I
didn't you appeal it? Why did you let your Infinity chiefs pay off the fine?
Well, because I had nothing to do with it. They were the ones who were fined, not me directly. So it was not my decision. I would have fought it. But you know, having said that, the government really held them up. They wouldn't allow them to do business. And it was really a horrible thing that was done against the First Amendment, but very few of my fellow broadcasters came to my aid.
That youngster wanted to ask one? Oh, okay. Quickly, the last question. Go ahead.
Your movie was so fantastic. I loved it.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to know, the next movie obviously is coming. It has to be. So will you be using the same producer and director and the same team?
Ivan Reitman, we were saying, a brilliant man. And
yeah, I was telling Geraldo during the commercial that I was very lucky. I had a great collaboration with Betty Thomas and Ivan Reitman, who is very brilliant and really deserves so much credit, who understood what this movie was. He read my book in 10 minutes. He knew exactly. It took me 4 years to get the right script, and it was because of Ivan. Ivan stepped in and made it happen.
20 rewrites.
20 rewrites, because I just wanted to make a funny, good movie that I could be proud of. So I don't know what, you know, if the public accepts this movie and it turns out to be a hit, you know, some people have said it's going to be a blockbuster. I don't know that. If it was, I would like to make a second movie, and I would like to play a character other than Howard Stern. But I think there's certainly room for a sequel to this.
I think you should bring back that afro you had.
Well, let me tell you something. That was a charming look, wasn't it? Certainly endearing.
And really geeky. Really,
yeah,
really
no
geeky.
Tom Cruise here.
We'll be right back with Howard Stern, everybody.
For transcript, please send $6 to Geraldo Rivera Transcript, care of Burrell, P.O. Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039, or call 1-800-777-TEXT.
Those fingers in your hair, and that slide, come hither, stare. That look that lures them there, it's witchcraft.
It's new adjusting finesse, now with hydrating silk proteins. Smooths every strand so hair's soft, silky.
Those gorgeous flowing strands of it, I've got to get my hands on it. It's witchcraft.
Get the look that gets the touch with new silk protein finesse.
I'll do anything to prevent my heartburn. But take Pepcid AC an hour before I eat, like they say? Tagamet HB200's label says it prevents in half the time.
New Tagamet HB200. More acid blockers help block acid faster.
Ta-da!
Hey, why the light?
It's for new Country Crock Light.
Oh, I see.
Country fresh taste.
With half the fat and calories.
Yeah, great taste in a light.
New Shed Spread Country Crock Light. Light on everything but taste.
If you have a comment about this show or have a show idea, you can call our interactive phone lines at 1-900-8-VIEWER. All calls 99 cents a minute. Remember, you must be 18 years or older.
They come from beneath the earth, the silent destroyers, termites. Only he can stop them, the exterminator. He's back and dressed to kill.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Armed with 4 termite barriers, featuring Orkin foam. More termite stopping power than conventional treatments alone. So the enemy's terminated. Guaranteed.
You're the best.
4 barriers. Get them by calling 1-800-800-ORKIN, day or night.
They won't be back.
We listen.
You're disabled. You can't work. You need your Social Security disability benefits. But you know about their long lines, their complicated forms, and their busy phones. Don't put up with that.
We listen to you.
We'll tell you if we can help, and we'll send you a free copy of our newsletter, plus our Social Security disability booklet. Call 1-800-66-BINDER. We're Binder and Binder, the only national Social Security disability advocates.
Are you the kind of person who just loves a happy ending? All you have to do is start with any Friendly's dinner, like our tenderloin steak, stir fry, or pot pie. And Friendly's will bring you a happy ending. A York Peppermint Patty Sundae for only 79 cents. The happiest ending in town at Friendly's.
They thought plastic surgery would make their lives better.
I did not have to have breast implants.
It was cut across here.
You wanted to be attractive.
They cut inside the lip. I had pec implants put in.
But now they're living a real nightmare.
The silicone leaked.
I've lost feeling in my arm.
I went into liver failure. I lost down to 47 pounds.
And I got very, very, very sick.
I'm just so glad to be alive.
What I Did to Be Beautiful on the next Gordon Elliott Show. Tomorrow afternoon at 3, only on New York's Channel 2.
Promotional fees provided by.
Try Cavitrol and relax. It helps you relax naturally without slowing you down. Cavitrol, nature's gift for a hectic life.
For free information about getting your high school diploma at home in your spare time, call ICS now at 1-800-ICS-0203.
Genexin Remind is the ginkgo biloba supplement that helps improve your memory, mental focus, and concentration. Genexin Remind. It's food for thought.
If you're 50 or older, AARP has benefits created just for you. Join now for just $8. Call 1-800-605-6444.
Well, there's a young lady wanted you to autograph her body. Come on up, come on. You can, all right, as you autograph, and your question, sir, is?
What a tough life. Where am I signing?
I have been away for that.
They had the wrong angle on the shot, though.
I know. Don't ask what was going on back there.
My question for you is, when do we get the next boxing match for Geraldo? We're ready to see another one.
It's going to be Well, you know, on my radio show, Geraldo was nice enough to come on and box Frank Stallone, and that worked out really well. You're not boxing anymore, are you?
No.
Good, yeah.
I ran into Stallone at Elaine's a couple of weeks ago. That was, we talked about that, though. It was quite a moment.
You were quite brave, though. You went in there against a guy who weighed a lot more than you do, and you got your butt kicked. It was the craziest thing.
How brave is that?
I was scared.
Oh, it was awful. It was really. So Debbie, you know, has a role not dissimilar to
Hi, Howard.
to Robin. She has a question for you.
Have you and Robin ever disagreed on one major subject where you were totally divided on it and just couldn't come to meeting of the minds?
I mean, there were times early in our career that we had to work things out where perhaps, I got to tell you something, Robin is one of those unique people that sort of has a mind meld with me. Robin doesn't agree with me on everything, and what's great about it is she's free to do whatever she wants on the air, just as I am free to do whatever I want. So if we have a disagreement, it's always on the air. And we've argued over a lot of different topics and things, and you know, over the years. Not one in particular comes to mind, but we have sort of an open relationship on the air, and anything goes.
Cool.
The film is called Private Parts. My review was at the top of the program, but it is a surprisingly terrific and original movie, and I congratulate you.
Thanks, Rob.
So we're going to say goodbye to the main studio. We'll go say hi to some of the people in the remote studio as Don rolls credits. Howard Stern. See ya.
You got a pen? Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Hey, guys. All right, thanks. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thank you. That's what it's doing over here.
We didn't see it.
You didn't get to see it?
No, we didn't.
Good, I want you to go find tickets.
Oh, thank you.
Good, all right. Thank you.
There you go. Say hi.
What is this? Anyway. You guys didn't get to see the movie, huh? Congratulations.
Thanks for watching. See you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
And this is the hell that's my life.
From WCBS TV in New York, this is 2 News.
While workers piece together parts of downed TWA Flight 800, a new piece of evidence points to an old theory. Good evening, I'm Lou Young.
And I'm Dana Tyler.
Aren't a last resort. They're the first step to a better life. Call 1-800-342-3009 toll-free and get the facts on food stamps.
Tonight on The Tonight Show, Jay's all-new with John Ritter and Oscar nominee Barbara Hershey, plus the powerful prognostications of Biondo. Then Conan's got Bill Bellamy tonight.
News Channel 4 Online is your connection to MSNBC for live news. MSNBC Live News. Log on and get plugged into News Channel 4 Online at www.newschannel4.com. Just another reason we're the Tri-State News Channel.
Today on Maury.
His fans have made him a legend. He's the self-proclaimed king of all media. Now, in the wake of his blockbuster